Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is take two of this video for the United States Senate and Congress, basically average calculation or an explanation of what the age distribution is. For some reason, OBS is just deciding every once in a while at random to just stop recording. I don't know why. It's stupid. I'm just gonna assume that there's a software bug in that thing. Maybe it has something to do with the hotkeys. I don't particularly know. So, we have all 100 senators plus two shadow senators for Congress, basically for the Senate. We have also adjusted it for the new senators, which is why, for an example, you see Katie Britt, and we have new guys like, of course, we have on this side James Vance, we have Fetterman, or Fetterwoman, depending on who you believe. Peter Welsh. Basically, everyone is there. So, what do we see? In this particular regard, I have everything ordered in duration. So basically, the oldest of the longest present one is here, and then it goes down. So the top three on each party, we have Chuck Grassley, or Charles Grassley, depending on who you want to call it, Addison McConnell, or Mitch McConnell, in which particular case you want to talk to him, call him. And then you have Susan Collins as the three most senior Republican senators. And the three most senior Democrats would be Dianne Feinstein, who is retiring next year. We have Patty Murray, or Patricia Murray, if you want to go by her birth name, who should be retiring. And they have Ronald Wyden, election denier, election conspiracy theorist, if you want to call him that. So you have those three as the most senior members. So you have Senate Majority Leader, Senate Minority Leader, but then you also have the President pro tempore, which would be the most senior senator of each particular party. So we had Patrick Leahy. He was that before his retirement last year, or last quarter. Chuck Grassley is that of the Republican side. We currently have Dianne Feinstein picking up the President pro tempore title for the current Congress, and it's going to move down to Patty Murray next year. So, in order to become a President pro tempore, there is a requirement of amount of time in office. It's at least 30 years, I believe. So that's why there's the titles for it. If you're no longer part of the majority, like Grassley, it becomes Senate of President pro tempore emeritus, which basically is just an extension of that. So, we have all the senators. The youngest one is 36, which is Thomas Ossoff of Georgia. On the Democrat side, the youngest Republican is James Vance from Ohio. The oldest is 89 in both cases. We have Chuck Grassley and Dianne Feinstein for the Republicans and Democrats, respectively. Average age for the Democrat side is 65, median is 65. The average for the Republican is 62 and a half, and median is also 65. So when it comes to the stereotype of the Senate, that they're all a bunch of old farts that should retire, kinda true. I think if we count the quantity in this particular action, so we have 10, we have 18, we have 20, we have 26, 27. So 27 out of the 102 in this particular count. Sorry, I don't think that feels right. So we have 2, we have 1, we have 8, so that's 11, and it's 17, 27, then it becomes 40, 45, 49, 51. So it's for each individual state that we have this series. That makes sense. So we have this one, and now we have this one, and then we have this one. And I believe it should be a little more clearly visualized in the charts. I don't know why Excel is doing this stupid thing. It should be a lot higher in this regard. In this particular diagram, the quantity should be higher, but I don't know why that is. I'll check it at a later stage, see what's wrong with the graphical, with the charts in this particular case. Yeah, I'm a little tired, in case you didn't notice. So, when it comes to the House of Representatives, it's a little less lopsided. We find that the average age of a Republican is 56, the average age of a Democrat is 58, so small difference. Median is 57 compared to 58, so again, a little different. The youngest congressman on the Republican side is Anna Luna, she's 33, and in my opinion, one of the best they have. Says a lot about him. And the oldest is 85, which is Hal Rogers of Kentucky. On comparison to the Democrat side, you have Maxwell Alexander Frost from Florida. He's brain dead, basically. And you have Grace Napolitano, who is 86, of Los Angeles. She is the oldest. So what you find in this particular chart, it is evenly distributed. There's a little bit of young people in there, like 40 minus, and then everything else just added into it. So that's pretty cool. If you compare that to the Senate, it's a little more evenly spread out, as it should, because the House is designed to represent the people instead of the states. So this is working appropriately, but I do think that 58 is a little on the old side. If we simply say everyone after this retire and put some new people in there, we'll find that this chart becomes a little lopsided in this part, but here you get a lot of extra, so it becomes a bit of a more evenly split chart. This is basically all. I could do the governors, but who cares at this point? Because this isn't really interesting. It's just disproving the notion that politics is just for old people. It isn't. It's more of a reflection of the population itself. And in the case of the Senate, it's a reflection of the people within these states. What do we find in the years of service? For an example, here in the Congress, I didn't really order that. But we can find, for an example, Adderall, 26 years in office. We have Thompson, 24 years. We have Pelosi, 35 years in office. So at some point you start to think, okay, if you have more than 10 terms behind you, maybe it's time you should retire. Right? Pretty obvious. Right? There's not much else to talk about in this particular regard. I am going to fill in this one whenever the special election is being held. It's a safe Democrat seat anyway, so it doesn't particularly matter. But that's up for later. So, thank you kindly for watching. There isn't really much else to talk about. If you have something to discuss, questions, that kind of stuff, feel free to ask, because that's what I'm here for. Thank you kindly for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.